Spoilerin time, everybody. This is the show after Cordkillers where we talk about all the things that we want to watch. Cordkillers is us finding out how to watch. Hello, everybody. Bryce Castillo, as always, joined as always with Brian Brushwood.
Heck yeah, dude. This is the show where we celebrate our bountiful harvest in a post-Cord universe. Oh, it's weird.
Beautiful cornucopia of pilgrim hats and hand turkeys
and labor all day and just scavenging around and
maze.
The maze.
Hi, Brian.
Hey, how are you, Bryce?
I'm good. You want to start with some spoiling time?
Yeah, I'm feeling like somebody's missing, but I don't really care. I just want to talk about, I don't know. What should we talk about first?
Well, let's get started with Good Omens, Season 2, Episode 6, Every Day, the Season 2 finale. Brian, I feel like they landed the plane?
Oh, my goodness.
Did they land the plane?
One of my favorite dynamics in good storytelling is big story, little story.
Okay.
The little story is Brian's skepticism of whether or not this could go on without Terry Pratchett's influence, and helmed entirely by Neil Gaiman, who did American Gods, which I didn't necessarily care for. The big story is, Bryce, they landed the plane. I wept openly. This was fantastic. I loved it. And now the crazy libertarian in me didn't love the fact that one of the characters seized power and promised to do things right this time. But I did love the fact that it set up the next season of, oh, how did that work out for you? It's not so easy to just seize power and do things right this time. This is...
Oh, so you're a little vindictive. You're a little Team Crowley.
I am.
Oh.
Which is part of what is great about this series, big story, little story, is that everybody has somebody that they can map onto, and you could take big ideas and reduce them to small conversations about feelings. I think season 2 might be much better than season 1, in my opinion. And
wow,
maybe that's proximity bias. I don't know, but I loved it. I loved it.
I really like this finale. I like this final episode. I've talked on this show about the issues that I had with the flashback episodes, whatever, in the middle of the season. I think they do a good job of setting up a good conflict for the story, because it is a good one, right? I think that the conflict between Aziraphale and if he wants to become the next archangel, or in
that ambiguous term, possibly the guy upstairs or whatever. Like they invent a term that it's like, you might as well decide he's as high as we know in the hierarchy of heaven. So just decide he's as close to God as the job will allow.
Yeah. And of course, all the stress of the situation means that none of them are exactly, having a reasonable conversation about, what do you want? What do I want? Well, none of that's happening. It's God giving Aziraphale a walking tour of that block.
Well, so in the chat, Scooping Over Girl is pointing out that she didn't care for the fact that the Beelzebub Gabriel arrangement was a mirror image of what we've already seen. But to me, I love that stuff. I love fractal storytelling. I love realizing that the opening scene of a thing is also the first act of a thing, which is also the first movie of a thing, which is also the whole story of a thing. And I thought all of that was fair game, and I liked it quite a bit.
I think on paper, it just doesn't sound like a full season. On paper, the idea, the story is Gabriel wants to go with Beelzebub, puts his memory in a fly, goes down to Earth, gets lost on the way, whatever, goes to Earth, and then ends up with her. That was pretty much it.
Well, and you're right.
Which is more than a shade of the last season's conflict between Crowley and Aziraphale, and sits between this season's similar progression with those two.
Well, and the way I read it is, if you watched the first season, you saw the unfolding of this kind of complicated friendship or kinship between. At the end of season 2, it becomes much more obvious that this is an allegory of the Cold War, and nobody really cares about whether the Soviets or the United States win. What they really care about is the other humans that they're connected with. In the last couple of episodes, they're able to use the shorthand of the relationship between Crowley and Aziraphale as like, yeah, that thing, guess what? It was happening over here too. Guess what? In the end, probably everybody wants to get along, but we all have to pretend to be on Team Red, Team Blue, Team Soviet, Team America, or whatever. I thought it was subtle enough for my tastes. It really moved me emotionally. I did not expect, if I were to place a bet, I would have taken the under on this season, but I was definitely openly weeping by the end of this one.
I have an issue with those friggin' flashback episodes.
Okay,
but it is a good season.
I've pretty much said everything I want to say. So you unpack what you have.
The thing is, I also watched this last week, so I'm kind of just having to go off my notes a little bit. It all just kind of wraps up in a very tight bow very quickly at the end. I think that's just the bummer, is that all of the primary story that we're here for ends up being an exposition dump in the final episode. And that's just a bummer. That is a little bit of a bummer with the way that this is all paced out. Because I like the stories. I like what was in the flashback episodes. I like what we're doing with having the Earth human shopkeeper ladies and trying to put them together while we're doing the stuff with the angels. And I like all of that. And I just don't like the way that they portioned it out. I really just think that there had to be something smarter or better than this, but I still like it. It's a good show. These are very high level, good problems to have.
There's a meta tactic that I see very often that normally I really, really don't like, but I thought was done well, which is we have the mystery that lingers the entire season long with Gabriel about why he is the way he is and all that stuff. And essentially what they do is they represent a writer's meeting, a pitch meeting, where up in heaven, they're all like, what about the apocalypse too? And it's Gabriel who's like, ugh, apocalypse too? Not feeling it. Now, normally that would annoy me or whatever, but also that's definitely what I'm feeling as a watcher of this show. It's like, please don't do apocalypse too. And then to see our mysterious, question mark, say those words, and it's like, well, then what are we going to do? It's like, I don't know, put me in a box or whatever, do whatever you want. I give no F words,
Mm-hmm.
and then,
but okay.
And then to reveal that part of the reason he's doing that is because he's been quietly having an echo of the exact same relationship of our two protagonists.
Sure. It was
I rather dug it.
Yeah. Well, I like that. But everything you described happened in this last episode.
Yes.
None of this was like any of the other stuff. And so I just think that pacing on it is weird. But otherwise, I think it's a really solid show. I'm excited for a third season. I hope the conflict is more than we're going to do the apocalypse. Nah. Because that's what they did last season too.
Here's what I'm hoping. Is because at this point we see a true divergence of our two protagonists. One of them is willing to accept the vision, the grand possibility that maybe he can do things right from a top-down perspective. Mm-hmm. And the other one, the cynic, the skeptic, is like, it's not possible. It's never been possible. You've never seen it work. I'm not going to participate in this. So we have a division. So now I'm more intrigued than ever.
That's your line of the division?
Uh,
Not love? Not I love you, dude, so spend eternity with me? No, I love you, dude, spend eternity with me?
Crowley offers that. He's like, why don't we do like they did and just go to Alpha Centauri? That sounds rad. And Aziraphale feels a higher calling, like he can do better. So I guarantee you, season 3, if/when it arrives, will be Aziraphale realizing that a top-down management perspective is not working for him and he needs help. And then that will be what causes him to reach out to Crowley. And I'm here for all of that. I think that sounds awesome.
But the pull is about love, not about running the world successfully. I mean, this clearly it's Calvin Ball. Like, the arc, we don't need to really do the apocalypse is not. It's the apocalypse here, and they're still treating it like like a rain delay. Like they're just winging it. So I like, yeah, maybe I'm sure there will be satirical. This is a satire at its core. I guess it's a romance at its core. But I mean, the pull here is gonna be love. Like, don't you love me? Don't we love each other? I don't. And don't you love me enough to understand why I don't want to go to heaven? Why I don't want to go back? Or like it's like, I don't disagree that there could be something about right, but it's gonna be about love. It's love. It's Romeo and Juliet.
Well, if you want to keep on going, then you can't keep the same two characters, because the same two characters
keep on going forever,
like season after season, to make this a franchise. And so what I assume is that what we saw with Gabrielle and Beelzebub is essentially the ending that we hoped for Aziraphale and Crowley. And we can imagine that story ends. But we still need those two actors and those two roles in those two characters to go forward. So now we're entering a new story where we've pushed them back and forth. And we'll talk about this with, look at Our Flag Means Death, right? Where it's like, we saw two characters come together, but then we saw them wildly diverge at the end so that they can set up the next season where they can come back together again.
Right.
That's what I perceive is what they're doing.
Yeah. And who wants the show to go on forever?
Me.
Well,
it's great.
I'm sorry.
It's great.
It's great. I know.
Sorry,
it's
a great show.
I agree, but the meta irony of the fact that you love this show so much that it and its protagonists need to be in purgatory for your entertainment is a level of subtext that I invite the viewers to analyze.
When I was young, I saw Sam and Diane finally get together, and it ruined Cheers. I don't ever want Sam and Diane to get together. I want them to always be on the edge of getting together, but never quite get there.
Oh, we can't get into any of that. Okay. Any other thoughts on Good Omens? The finale.
Production is incredible. Neil Gaiman is the world's greatest cinematic hypnotist. The fact that he was able to promise an epic demon battle and instead deliver a Jane Austen novel, it was fantastic. I don't know who the character was that was, if not God, the closest we've seen to him. It was great. I liked it very much. It was better than I ever dared expect.
There you go. That's Good Omens, season 6, episode 6 of season 2. Let's talk about Justified, City Primeval, episode 8. The finale of season 1 of City Primeval. The question: how are you feeling with the city under your belt, Bri?
I have thoughts, but
okay.
I would like to hear your thoughts first.
I wrote a lot of. Oh no, I copied the recap. This is a fine episode. I guess we'll start with the ending in mind. I didn't have any. I didn't have anything for what's his name at the end.
Boyd,
for Walter Goggins. He wasn't in the rest of the show, so he couldn't do anything for me. Please talk me through seeing one Walton Goggins
So
do this.
you were not on the ride when we went through all of Justified, correct?
Right.
Okay.
I know that this guy's in it. I know he's been around. This was his thing, but he wasn't in the rest of the series, or the rest of the season.
That last scene recontextualized the entire whatever this one-off series was. And I realized it was not about Raylan becomes a dad and finally becomes whole and retired. It was about, hey, what if the show was no longer about Thor, but instead, starting now, was about Loki? And I am in. It was electric. I was hoping Walton Goggins would show up. He's excellent. Even if he didn't get Baby Billy's Bible bonkers going off the ground, I am here for the idea of just following the story of Loki, because Thor's story is done. It was, I loved it.
Done. No, they call him up.
No, wait, they call him up. Whatever. He may or may not show up. Whatever. He'll be a minor character. The franchise now belongs to Walton Goggins and no longer to what's his name, Raylan Givens.
What? That doesn't make any sense.
No, it makes perfect sense. We've watched Thor for 6 seasons and an extra season.
And you don't kill Thor. People like Thor.
No.
People watch Thor.
He's not dead. He's just out there. And meanwhile, I want to follow the story of Loki. That's literally what we're doing at the MCU. I love this.
I'm just saying, you're going to get more Raylan. Like, Raylan's not retiring. He's not retiring. They call him back.
He'll show up. But he won't be the protagonist anymore. The new protagonist starting now is Boyd. It's going to be amazing. I'm so excited about it.
I don't know enough about Justified to say that that doesn't make sense, but that does make a lick of sense.
All you need to know is that Walton Goggins portrayed Raylan's nemesis for 6-7 seasons, and he was always slippery and got out of everything. And now we have the opportunity to see Loki in Kentucky, and I'm here for it.
Yeah, and you're gonna get Thor.
He'll show up always, in the background, always almost there. What? Did I miss him again? He's too good, Loki. I guess he's the protagonist now.
What? But it's to the Oliphant. No, I don't think they're icing. I don't think they're icing him. I don't think he's getting iced.
Oh, no. He won't be iced. It'll just be a treat when he shows up for exactly 2 minutes per episode.
That's icing. You're describing icing.
Okay. All right.
I did like it was good. I thought that sequence of him stealing the police van and finding that
he had romanced whatever security guard or.
Yeah, I thought that was a good thing. And then
a good thing that people should do.
That's right. Was there anything? What else happened in this episode? I feel like
not a lot, my friend. I feel like the last episode, even though I didn't see it from the way you guys described it, that was the real ending. And then what we had was a bizarre denouement where the lawyer seduces Raylan into doing the most un-Raylan thing ever, which is locking a criminal in a cage and allowing him to starve to death so that she can become a judge. And for some reason, he's cool with it. To be honest, I was fairly disappointed in this episode until it was revealed that, psych, the rest of this franchise is going to be all about Boyd being Loki.
Yeah, it was very, of course he was going to get, it didn't even make sense when they were putting him in that room, what the plan was. Oh, we're just going to starve it? Shoot him! What? You're at a warehouse. Shoot him!
Well,
shoot him!
I also want to chime in real quick on the use of Albanians as an all-purpose bad guy you don't really know anything about.
Big ups for Albania in this
if
one.
you need somebody to do something that you disagree with, just either Chechens or Albanians, just throw them in the plot.
This a mess. That's a mess. But it was good.
Until the end. Until the end.
This theory. All right. Any other things on Justified City Primeval? Should they call it City Primeval this next season? Assuming they get another season. Should it be City Medieval? City Primordial?
Oh, maybe like Boyd Primeval or a new beginning, Boyd. Or Boyd goes to work for the Time Space Authority and he becomes Doctor Who and solves crimes.
We'll call it Joey. He's the favorite friend.
Justified, the reckoning.
Justified City Primeval. Let's think about Miami Vice. Season 4, episode 21, Deliver Us from Evil, the penultimate episode of season 4. Both a part 1 of a story, but also continuing a previously on story that was in season 3.
Yeah, we very rarely see a previously on Miami Vice, but
Apparently
this one
was the third time they ever did it.
This one was a very long previously on, and because we're kind of skipping along, I'm like, oh, so that happened. Okay, that too. And I thought there was a brief moment that I thought, wouldn't it be great if none of this actually happened and they actually just manufactured this 3.5 minute previously on to set up this episode? I made it 2/3 of the way through this episode and I ran out of time, Bryce.
Okay.
And I'm going to ask you to fill in the gaps, but boy, oh boy, did Sheena Easton keep calling Sonny and keep rubbing her belly every time she called him, as if she had a secret that she wanted to tell him.
Well, look, Sheena Easton only gets like a minute of screen time this entire episode. We don't have a lot of time for sophistication in this.
Yeah, because
Oh, wait, so you didn't see the ending?
I did not. Okay, so
What do you think? What do you think the ending of this episode is, Brian? Go.
I bet it ends in a quarry.
Okay, continue guessing.
Does a car explode?
No.
But Sheena Easton definitely dies pregnant with Sonny's child.
Sheena Easton definitely dies at the end of this episode.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was like,
or I did. Well, okay, they do it. I'm pretty sure she dies because they talk about her in the past tense at the end, but
I'm pretty sure she dies because they talk about her in the past tense.
But there's a lot of there's wiggle room there because this is like the start of a 3-parter. This story I think will continue into next week and into the premiere of next season.
Yeah. So it maybe it's good that I didn't get to the end because I felt like I had missed the beginning because they spent 3.5 minutes reminding me of this backstory that they're doing.
And it was all just to set up the revenge story from a previous criminal, right? So that there's a reason that Sonny like really cares why it's actually this guy as part of the crew. But we didn't need, I don't know. You're right. It was really long, but I don't think that detract. I think it was still ended up being a pretty solid story. Okay. How Sheena Easton dies. So, the end of this episode. Remember, they've been hyping up. Oh, I got my big show. I got my big show coming up. I sold out the club.
Look at these people in the background. They're definitely going 5, 6, 7, 8 and practicing for my big show. Yeah.
So she goes and she does it. We see a whole song. A whole ass song. It's an entire song. I want to see if I can find out what it is. She sings. You see her singing a whole dang song. "Follow My Rainbow." That's right. A Sheena Easton jam, apparently. So she does it. Sing the whole thing. She's coming off stage, and Sonny is right there at the back, right there in the backstage, and she's thanking everybody. And then the assassin comes in and shoots Sheena Easton right in the back, right as she walks off stage. So everyone's cheering and clapping, but Sonny is the one who sees her and catches her and has to deal with her getting shot square in the back.
You do know you're describing the end of the Weird Al mockumentary. Maybe for a reason.
I don't know that.
No, well, I mean, like,
fun fact, I don't know that.
No. Because it's a mockumentary of rock documentaries. Of course, that's how it would end. Is what I'm saying.
I see. So we're probably done with Sheena Easton. Otherwise, I don't know. It seemed like they really tied up the ending. Oh, right, because the other thing is, so Sonny is looking for our guy.
Yeah, the
Newman.
Wait, no, he has a terrible name, like Strawman or something. Like if they might have well spelled it out.
Hackman.
Frank Hackman. Even better. Hackman. It's like, hey, I didn't have time to write a good name, so his name is Hackman.
I don't know. Call him Crime Dude. Whatever.
I'm Crimeman.
So
I'm Hackman. I'm Strawman. Let us take on policemen together.
So Hackman ends up escaping, and we see him relaxing on a beach. And Sonny catches him. Sonny sees him at the beach, and they have a really dramatic, what is it? A standoff, a standoff against each other. And Frankman's like, "Oh, I know you,
Hackman,
Frank Hackman." He says, "Well, I know. For as much as you don't want to send an innocent man to prison, you wouldn't shoot an unarmed man." And Sonny, and we see him in this great close-up.
Yeah.
Bam.
Yeah. No, I was about to say, I don't know that unarmed is the important adjective. I would think guilty of killing my prospective wife would be the important part.
And then they pan away. He's doing a real dramatic walk away and long lens, and they cut back to him and the guy he shot, and it's like he shot him through the book he was reading in the stomach, but there's like no blood or anything. It just looks really bad.
I mean, again, those are the rules of 7:30 p.m. on a Friday.
Yeah. But so we're setting ourselves up for a little bit more of drama in Sonny Crockett's personal life. James Crockett, Sonny Crockett. Yeah.
If you're gonna place a bet,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, doesn't have to be a real bet, but I don't know, a quarter.
Okay.
Sheena Easton, alive or dead? The character in the show, not
the actual woman. Oh, you know what's so funny, Brian?
Yes.
I've watched over half of next week's episode. That's right.
How did that happen?
I bought the wrong episode.
You couldn't wait.
I bought the wrong episode 2 weeks ago.
By the way, this is the first episode I did not buy because I went to go buy it and it was like, why don't you watch it for free with ads? And I'm like, I guess. And that's part of the reason I didn't finish it is because I had to sit through ads. And boy, do ads take you out of the time traveling experience of going back to experience Miami Vice.
They really do. It really does.
You're like, oh my God, my testosterosa, my pink and teal color scheme.
Mm-hmm.
Angie.com is where you go to get the services you need.
I think Sheena Easton's character did die. Because next week is not the clip show. We had the clip show last time.
Yeah.
But next week's episode was like a weird one where I think it's like a dream. I think next week's episode is a dream. I didn't finish watching it, so I'm convinced it will be a dream. But
wait, the second chapter of a 3-chapter arc, the second chapter you think is just a full-on dream?
I think they're gonna try something like that. I know.
Is it gonna be better than the time that James Brown was an alien?
Well, you could never be better than that. But the reason I mistakenly watched so much of it was because I kept thinking, when does the clip show start? Like we've got like you're gonna be reminded of last week's episode because it involves Crockett going missing and people trying to find him and save him. So I don't know. I think Sheena East is probably gone though. I think they got her. I think they marked her.
Just because she got shot in the back and her chest exploded and she died.
Okay, her chest doesn't explode. We couldn't see.
Did she rub her belly to remind everyone that she's definitely pregnant?
Oh well, because that night she's about to tell him. She's on the phone with him. I'm about to tell him.
Can I whisper something to you? Something? No, baby. I gotta go catch some bad guys.
Right
Click.
Earned a glass of whiskey.
Oh my god.
Anyway, any other thoughts on Miami Vice?
I think this might be my new way to experience Miami Vice is to watch 2/3 of it and just have you fill me in on the ending.
Well, that'll do it here for Spoilerin time. Next week, we are, I think, just doing Miami Vice episode 22 of season 4, Mirror Image. We are, as we've talked about a little bit on Cordkillers, going to be changing up some of the way that Cordkillers and Spoilerin time are branded and named just a little bit here. So you'll see us do a little more on Spoilerin time, but of less shows. So that'll be a fun one. We'll talk more about that in the coming weeks or so. Check us out on the internet at cordkillers.com. It's a website. It's ours. That has the links to all of our podcast stuff.
It's ours, Doug Internet. If you were going to say it's not ours, I challenge you to a wrestling contest. Indian wrestling. We're going to grab each other by the palm and try to get each other to fall down.
That's right. Go do that over at cordkillers.com. Thank you. It's been Spoilerin. Is that what we said?
It's weird. There's no difference from when Tom's here.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.